you seen Star Wars?
Oh my god, I am so behind on these reviews. Should I even review part 4 or should I just skip to part 5 because everyone's talking about it? But damn it, I really can't skip the episode because then, I gotta talk about the importance of the show in its entirety. So screw it. Let's just go over Obi-Wan series part 4. Before we do, please leave a like on today's video and subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars content. So as per usual, I watch these episodes 3 times a piece before I make my review, just to really digest it, see what I like and what I dislike, and this was my least favorite episode for the series so far. But it does keep a trend that I've noticed in the series, which is there's a lot of great and memorable moments in these episodes that I think really bring back the feel of the Force in live-action Star Wars, and I know it's kind of easy to look back at like Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian and think of the Force in that kind of aspect of live-action Star Wars, but I mean like what you would see in the movies. That's what I feel like this Kenobi series has kind of brought back for us. The opening of this episode has both Kenobi and Vader having flashbacks from the recent fight in part 3, and this happens while they recover in the Bacta tanks, and I was happy they didn't go the Book of Boba Fett route with this episode and do an entire episode on flashbacks. After this, Kenobi is on a secret base for this network called The Path, ran by Ice Cube's son, who doesn't really want to help because, Kenobi's trouble, but a minute later he changes his mind, and it's because he has a Force-sensitive late wife, and that's why he changed his mind. And so after that whiplash of a scene, we go to the typical setup for an escape plan, a rescue plan. A friend is locked in a fortress and we need to go save them. Let's infiltrate the base with this secret information we got, and we also happen to have an Imperial spy to get us in. So I don't really mind an episode like this, like the setup, at least the plot. The story is different from the plot, but the setup and the plot, I don't mind it if it didn't feel like a repeat of episode 2. Leia needs to be rescued again, but this time Kenobi has Tala, who I do think is a highlight in this episode. But doing this repeat plot after really moving the story in the last episode feels like a very odd pace for the show. It's like you're moving the plot forward, you're stopping. You're moving the plot forward, we're stopping again. And I'm not a big fan of that. If you edited out this entire rescue mission from part 2, and then you supplemented it with this part 4 rescue mission, I think I'd be happier with the show in general. I like that they go back to the Inquisitor's fortress from Jedi Fallen Order, but given that the game takes place 5 years before this and Cal broke into it the exact same way, it's baffling to see the security has gotten even worse since the last time, to the point where Obi-Wan is literally walking with Leia in his coat, like those 2 kids in a show trying to buy beer or cigarettes from the, CVS or whatever. The interrogation scenes with Reva and Leia, they don't really do much for me either. Reva is not very intimidating as a villain or even remotely interesting in this episode like she was in the last one. I think she plays better off of, the other Inquisitors than she does to our heroes. I mean, she's just not an intimidating villain, and I don't know, I don't like her in this episode. The highlight for her was the interaction that she had with Tala, and that's trying to expose her as a traitor and a spy. But for me, this works because Tala has a character, is interesting, and not really the same case for Reva, who is uninteresting to me. But I don't really know what to put my finger on for that. I don't know why I like Tala more than I like Reva. I don't know if it's the acting or what, but Tala just, for some reason, really rubs me the right way in this series. And this series is pretty corny. I mean, truth be told, after 4 episodes, I think it's fair to say this is cheesy, and I really blame that on a lot of the writing in a lot of ways. One of my friends, Okairo, said something in the DMs once of like, at least for a different episode, that this is written like Clone Wars, and I can see that, but maybe Clone Wars works better in animation where you're expecting it to be kids, and live action, you sometimes want to take a little bit more seriously. But also the directing style of the series, even though it's from Deborah Chow, who I love, it's really bland for me. I mean, it really is. It's non-stop shaky cam, and it's in every single episode. As I said earlier, this series managed to pull in a lot of special highlights that work for me and elevate the series to something more special than its surface-level content. But that surface-level content, the stuff that is making up the screen most of the time you're watching the series, is really, really cheesy and corny, and I just can't get past it. I loved seeing Kenobi copy the Starkiller scene from The Force Unleashed 2 when he's taking out the stormtroopers to rescue Leia. That looked amazing. Seeing him use the Force a little bit more than the previous episodes really shows that he is gaining confidence back. He's making that connection to the Force. It's fun seeing him get more comfortable with his lightsaber, deflecting blaster fire coming from stormtroopers instead of clones or droids like we're used to. But that's sadly the extent to my enjoyment of this episode. I find the rest of it pretty boring and unoriginal. It's a typical Star Wars You know, rescue and escape mission. Reva has a showdown with Kenobi, and Tala, and Leia, and then just like in The Force Awakens, the rebels show up to save the day. And you remember how hard it was to get a ship onto this planet in Fallen Order? Mirren had to literally turn the entire ship invisible with dark side magic, and that took a lot of effort. But in this series, any old snow speeder can just zoom out, in and out, like nothing. No resistance, undetected. And then those TIE fighters on top of the hangar, I guess they're just decoration? I mean, I know they're pretty easy to get in and just, you know, dip, and you can't tell me that the snow speeder is faster than the TIE fighter. These are nitpicks, aren't they? But they take away the, I can't say realism because it's Star Wars, but there's some realistic aspects to Star Wars that make the plot seem believable, and when you have these kind of things or glaring flaws and just kind of odd situations, it takes away that believability. It takes away the immersion because it's just in your face of, oh, that would have been a solution. This is kind of stupid. Then this guy named Wade died. And I guess we're supposed to feel emotional about it? I saw people on Twitter and Instagram making like memes about it, but I know nothing about this guy other than that his name is Wade and now he's dead. And I assume that was his wife who was mourning him, and I feel bad, but I don't know either of these characters, and I'm supposed to feel sad about his death. Like, I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't. This was an episode you could easily skip, and it changes almost nothing about the series. Lots of fanboys got really excited when Vader storms in on Reva and yells at her, "You were warned!" And yeah, sure, it was cool to see Reva get threatened by Vader, but there's really no tension in the scene. What's he gonna do, kill her in this one? I mean, if it's Vader from Empire Strikes Back or A New Hope, then yeah, he would have killed her without hesitation. He wouldn't even said, "You were warned." He would have walked in, not even looked at her, and snapped her neck. And maybe we're seeing him become slowly that version of Vader over time. And if that's the case, then the series is doing a good job of conveying that transition. But at the same time, scenes like this feel like they're being done over the top to be like popcorn, where it's easy to digest, and you're like, oh, this is really cool, this is really good, but there's not a lot of substance behind it. And that's my disappointment with this series so far. Overall, this episode highlights what I don't like about the Kenobi series in general. The show feels like it's trying to wow the audience with these amazingly cool moments that, for me, do not carry a lot of substance. I like Tala, but there isn't much of a connection to her as a character, as an audience member, that I would think a girl playing her is honestly just a good actress. I think it's the whole reason I like her as a character. But after 4 episodes, and 2 of them literally being kind of the same thing and feeling like they're not really needed for the story, at this point in the story, I just don't care about this series. I give Kenobi Part 4 exactly that same number. I give it a 4 out of 10. How fitting, right? Alright, but let's see if Part 5 can change my thoughts on this series. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm sorry for it being late. But thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment below what you thought of Kenobi Part 4. I know we're all reacting from Part 5 right now, but go back 1 episode and tell me what you thought about that and how it stands over the course of the entire series. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Why or why not? If you enjoy it, please leave a like on this video, subscribe for more Star Wars content. Check out the Chatooine show. We do it on Wednesday nights. We're doing it on the Star Wars Only and the Chatooine channel. Dual streaming on both of them Wednesday nights. Check out the series finale this Wednesday. We're doing a big stream for that. Thank you guys. All the links to that are in the description below. We'll see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.